On Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Efforting Derek Shelton at the moment. Pirates Manager brought to you by Moosehead Beer, fiercely independent.
He's always prompt. This is a little bit of a surprise. There might not be a Belfort snorkel involved here, is there?
I don't know. I wouldn't have imagined that with Sheltie. Who knows what's going on, Ron? He seems to be talking to Horse right now.
He usually is.
He's not talking to Horse. I got the wave off from Horse.
We were a little bit early, so he's usually prompt.
He's very punctual, isn't he, Ron? Well, let's talk baseball in the meantime. Who you got tonight?
I had the Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series with the Yankees winning, so that kind of went by the wayside last night. I'm going to stick with the Dodgers. I think they find a way to win behind Scherzer, and then sets up the series that a lot of people want to see, the Dodgers and Giants. 107-win team against a 106-win team. That ought to be pretty good baseball.
You know what? I'm in position to do something that I've never done in my life, and that is root for the St. Louis Cardinals tonight. I want the old guys to win, Ron. I want the battery of Wainwright and Molina to win the game.
Molina.
They're an underdog tonight. I'd love to see them beat the Dodgers, take them out in one game. I want to see it.
Could happen. You never know with Wainwright, but Scherzer's going to be hard to beat. He's going to be hard to beat. And then we'll get the matchups. We already have, Boston and Tampa Bay, right? Starting, I think, tomorrow, and then Boston, Tampa Bay, and then Houston and the Chicago White Sox. You're rooting for the old guy, Tony La Russa.
He's a little bit tougher for me to root for.
To win a third title,
Tony.
right? With these one, did he win in St. Louis? He might have won 2 in St. Louis. He also won 1 in Oakland, right? Only manager to win in both leagues, if I'm not mistaken. He and Sparky Anderson.
Is that right?
I think so.
Sparky Anderson, too.
I think Sparky did. Leland and La Russa played in that series where the Cardinals beat the Tigers, and La Russa became the second guy to do it. It would have been Leland if Detroit had won that.
It's tough for me to root for Tony La Russa.
He's a very arrogant man.
Yeah, and he's had some repeated off-the-field issues that are a little bit bothersome. I think Sheltie might be calling. Horse has picked up the line, and it could be Sheltie. Meanwhile, the $324 million man,
sick to his stomach, he said, Garrett Cole.
I just have to wonder what happened to him this season. It after he admitted to cheating with Spider Tack, things got worse for him, then they got better, and then they got way, way worse. And not even Bucky Dent watching last night could help them, Ron. They were cooked.
They were cooked. That's that payroll, that city. I got to think Aaron Boone could be in some real trouble here. I think his contract is done, by the way.
Is it?
I think he's done in 2021. I think so. He's a free agent. I don't know that they're going to bring him back.
Well, let's bring on the Pirates manager, Derek Shelton, brought to you by Moosehead Beer, fiercely independent. He's on the Nemacolin fan hotline, and I can't help but feel, Sheltie, like you delayed a little bit today to punish Ron and I for not showing up on Friday. Was that part of it?
No, I delayed because my phone was on vibrated and I walked away. and then I saw that Horse called me twice and I thought he was going to be mad, so I had to make sure I called back in quickly.
I love the fact that you call him Horse. He's become Horse to you. He's Horse to us. What do you think of the playoffs starting with a wild card game every year? Personally, I love it. How do you feel?
No, I like it. I like it. I've been part of it a couple times. Man, it's do or die, and every pitch is you're on the edge of your seat. But it's definitely exciting. And last night was really wasn't that exciting of a game because Boston got out early and just kind of ran away with it.
Derek, how do you respond to the critics of it who say it shouldn't be a 107-win team? The Giants win the division. The 106 team Dodgers have to play a one-game playoff. They could win 106 games and be eliminated in one game.
Yeah, I don't think there's any perfect way to do it. There with the Giants in the late 80s, I think, won 103 or 104 and didn't even make the playoffs one year. So any way you're going to go about it, someone's going to be a critic of how it goes. And there's going to be no perfect solution to it, but it's exciting. So teams win a lot of games and have to win. I guess it comes down to you need to win your division.
Yeah, you know what? And the other point of that to back up what you just said is that the Dodgers are in the playoffs because of the wild card. If they had to win the division, they could win 106 games and still miss the playoffs. Same thing with the Pirates back in a few years ago. People complained about the wild card, but they might not have made the playoffs without that wild card, right?
Yeah, and that's how it's changed. And it used to be pennant winners, and then it was division winners, and so I think someone is always going to find a flaw in a system, and it's not going to be perfect. But I would rather be in than out, regardless if it's a one-game playoff or not.
Sheltie, the season ends for you guys on Sunday, or it ended on Sunday, and man, a lot happened this year. I'm wondering if you can pick out the best moment of the season for you, or one of the best moments, and maybe one of the more difficult moments. What would those be?
The best moment for me would probably be, just in terms of games, was the night Stallings hit the walk-off grand slam against the Mets. That was electric. That was exciting. That was in a stretch of games where we had come back. The day before the All-Star break, I think we were down 7 or 8 and came back and won. So that would be, that would probably be the best moment. The worst moment was probably when we had that 10-game losing streak in the middle of it. We just were not playing. We weren't playing good enough to win, and we weren't playing terrible, but we were not playing good enough to win games, and that was frustrating.
You tried 68 players. There's 64 players this year, and maybe the two of the last guys to come up last week, Contreras and Cruz, pretty good debuts, huh?
Yeah, really good. I think, as we've talked about a lot, it's really important as we move forward for our young kids to come up, and the fact that we were able to get to Contreras and Cruz both a little taste of the big leagues was really important for us, and both kids look good. And anytime you can kind of make sure that you check off that box and start your big league career, I think it's important.
Cruz is so unusual at 6'7", playing shortstop. Can you elaborate a little more on what kind of player he might be, both optimistically and also what his struggles might be? Whenever I see a guy that big, I wonder about the swing and if they're going to find holes in it, things like that. But man, he's compelling to watch. I'll say that.
Yeah, he is compelling to watch. Anybody that's that big is going to have challenges at times, just because of how difficult it is to hit when you're that tall. Just because of the size and the levers and that. But the other thing is, like you saw, on the home run, he has the ability to hit a ball that almost bounces out of the ballpark 400 feet. So there's a lot of positive things there. I think we'll continue to, learn and grow on the defensive side. We saw him sit back on a ball, but then we also saw him turn a double play where, you can't teach that kind of arm strength. And we're just going to have to continue to work on specific things with him as we move forward.
He's going to have a chance to win that shortstop job, I would imagine. Is that an open competition going into spring training? Would you think, and who's in it?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you where we're at with that right now, but it's way too soon to even speculate of where we're going to be and how that's going to go. And he is going to come into spring training and play some shortstop. But to talk about winning jobs or who's in it, it's way too early for that.
Safe to say, though, that there's not an incumbent coming back who would have the inside track.
Well, Kevin had a good year. Defensively got better offensively, but I think with anything coming into a year, we're going to have a ton of competition, and I would expect there to be a ton of competition at almost every spot we have on the field.
Cruz also had a stare out to the pitcher that I absolutely loved. Did you happen to notice that? The little stare down? He had a couple of those with pitchers over the weekend. I love that. It was great.
I did not notice that. Yeah, I did not notice that. If it happened on Sunday, I may have been sitting inside before it happened.
That's true.
Derek, what did you tell the players when after the game? Your last message to them after a tough year?
To keep going, to keep grinding. I'm proud of the culture we've created over the last 2 years. and I'm really proud of how hard they play every night. I think the one thing you can't question, regardless of anything that happens on the field, is our guys go all out, full effort. I mean, last week of September, we got guys that are busting their butts, and that's what I told them I appreciated. And then the other thing I said, cherish these relationships, because this is the last time this group of people will be in a room together, because, there's no guarantees that everyone in that room is going to be back. So just make sure you cherish that. But I told them I was proud of the culture that we've created, and I told them we've got a lot of work to still do.
When you talk about culture and building a culture, other than effort, which I think most people would expect, right, at that level, what are the other hallmarks of building a culture?
Well, number one, to your first point, I would say our effort's probably as good as anybody's in the league, because at times, effort can go away on guys, which is unfortunate. The second part is being good teammates. That's what really sticks out in terms of when you're creating a good culture and how you're going to interact with your teammates and your staff, and how hard you work, and the ability to open your mind to different things, to learn and grow. That's what culture is about.
Derek, I watched Tatis hit the ball out of Los Angeles' Dodger Stadium the other night. I don't know if I've ever seen a swing quite like that. Did you happen to see it, and what is the hardest, furthest ball you've ever seen hit?
I did actually see it, and I was actually watching it with Oscar at Marine and Mike Ribello, and then Oscar wanted to have an argument of how many balls it had been hit out of Dodger Stadium. So, fortunately there's Google, so we could do that. But I did see it, and he's a special talent. The hardest ball I've ever seen hit was probably in Boston by Willie Mo Pena when I was in Cleveland and he was playing for the Red Sox. He hit a ball one day that almost knocked down one of the concrete structures and left.
You mentioned out of Dodger Stadium. I believe it is 3, right? I think Willie Stargell was the first to do it, and I'm not sure who was the second. Willie
Stargell's actually done it twice. So, and he had the farthest one. I think it was like 500 feet. So it was Stargell, and then there was one other one, and I'm trying to think of who it was. But the ball that Tatis hit was they said the fourth one, but Stargell had 2 of them.
Couple more minutes with Pirates manager Derek Shelton, our final show of the season. So, Sheltie, I'm sure you hear it. We hear it. People want a winner again, and they want to know when that's going to happen. And it's been actually, multiple years since the Pirates have put out a winning team, and really even more than that, since a legit contending team. How do you answer that question when people say, when are you guys going to win again? Give us something to watch in September.
Yeah, to answer the win, I don't think anybody can put a specific year or date on it. I wish you could. I think the thing is that, I really feel we're building something that is working in that direction. And we have to do it through player development. We've drafted well the last couple of years. We've acquired players through trades the last couple of years. So the thing that I would tell them is that, it's coming. We got a good group of guys that we're going to be able to build around. But to put a specific timetable on it, it's too hard.
It is hard for people to be patient, Derek. I got to assume, how hard is it for you to be patient? You want to win yesterday. I know how competitive you are, but how do you keep telling yourself, I have to be patient?
I just have to trust the process. We came in, and I say we, Ben and I came in with a very clear outline and plan and process, and I just have to trust the process. And yeah, at times it is frustrating, and I understand that, and I get frustrated, but if we don't trust the process, then we don't have anything to fall back on. So that's what I do on a daily basis, stay optimistic and just keep moving forward.
Frustrating year for Key Brian Hayes, and I think a lot of people reading reports over the past, week or so and wondering what's going to happen with that wrist. How concerned are you, and how would you sum up his season, Sheltie?
Yeah, well, how I would sum up his season, I would say he was, to your point, he was frustrated with the fact of the injuries. Defensively, we know this kid's elite. Last year we saw him come up and have a really good offensive year. But then when you start dealing with hand or wrist injuries, that's something that can plague you throughout the year. But really excited for Key's future. and I'm not overly concerned at all about the wrist. I think just time off will definitely help him. Near the end of the year, we just wanted to make sure, out of abundance of caution, that we started his off-season program a few days early. But I fully expect him to be healthy in spring training and continue to get better. And there's a lot of talent in there on both sides of the ball.
I guess the unquestioned bright spot of this season was Brian Reynolds. How do you put his season into perspective?
It was an unbelievable season. I mean, to finish over 300, 25 homers, 90 RBIs, to move to center field and play there. And I think when we go back to culture, he's the epitome of it. This guy plays hard every single day. When your best player plays like that, it's really easy, for organizationally to point at. But unbelievable year, and just continued to get better as the year went on. And it was fun to watch.
Well, everybody deserves a little time off after the work year, Sheltie. You heading out anywhere? You going on vacation? What's your immediate plan here?
My immediate plans, I'm going to go home to St. Pete Beach and become a dad and start taking kids to school and, see my kids and hang out with them. And, I'll be back in Pittsburgh for meetings and different things. But I'm basically just going to go home and hang out for a little bit.
There's no off season really in sports anymore, is it? Football, hockey, baseball, there's always something to do, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, you think you're in the off season, but there's a lot of work to do, and we have a lot of work to do here. So, maybe a few days of downtime, and then get back to at least making phone calls and doing things like that.
You get on the umps, the officials in in your kids' ball games at all? Or are you the type of parent who sit back and just watches?
No, I watch. I don't say anything. At my kids' games, I just sit and watch. I do zero coaching. I do zero yelling at the ref. I mean, I can't with my youngest volleyball. My wife's the coach, so if I yell at her, I'm going to get in trouble either way. So it really doesn't matter.
Well, you get thrown out enough in your own games, right?
I only got thrown out 3 times this year.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I always ask people, I always, did you get your money's worth in all 3 occasions?
Yeah, I did. I would say I got my money's worth. I'm not saying I was right at the end of the day, but I probably got my money's worth on all 3 occasions.
At least if you're going to get thrown out, you had a little satisfaction, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's an interesting way to look at it, yeah.
Any chance that you'll attend one of Horse's games here, his youth football games? We know he's a renowned coach around here.
Yeah, he is a renowned coach, and I hear about his games as much as anything because Donnie's son plays on his team. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got the schedule. I know Donnie got to see last week because they played at noon. So if I could get out, then I would call in and we could critique Horse's coaching abilities.
Do you sense any fan unrest with Horse? They have a losing record at the moment. Horse, are you in the playoffs? I think they might miss the playoffs.
Yeah, we're struggling to get in.
Is there anything behind the scenes we should know about, Sheltie? A movement to perhaps oust Horse?
No. Donnie raves about Horse and how good a job he does, and I think he's got a group of kids that just needs to continue to get better. But it's been all positive on Horse's coaching ability.
Well, we appreciate you joining us every week this season, Sheltie. It was fun again to talk to you, and hopefully we can do it next year.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks. I enjoyed it.
Stay well. Have a good off season, man.
Thanks, guys.
Derek Shelton, Pirates manager,